Head coach Mike Madigan entering his ninth season, leading the men's soccer program. The Knights ended last season with 11-5-4 overall record, 6-2 mark in ARC. They won their second consecutive conference regular season title and NCAA tournament berth. The Knights were selected to take the third straight conference title preseason poll. Last week, soccer opens up Cornell College on Friday, and Madigan is joined by seniors Sam McDevitt and Aidan Mott. Opening statement from Coach.
Yeah, we're really excited. Preseason's been off to a good start. We have a talented group of guys on campus, whether it's returning or new players. I think our culture and the process we go through getting better seems to be in a really good place. So we're excited to get the year going.
Awesome. Any questions?
Yeah, so you've got a number of freshmen on the team. Ask us the players first, then Coach. Is there any freshman that sticks out to you as somebody that you kind of look at? He'd be useful.
Yeah, for sure. We got a couple. I think every year there's a few that we hope make an impact, and this year will definitely be the same. So.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot, and there's also we see potential in all of them. So like maybe even if it's not this year, in the future they'll definitely all play a part.
Yeah, Coach, same to you.
Yeah, I think the guys answered great. There's guys that are in different degrees of transitioning in. Some that have got off to a great start here in the first week or two of preseason. Others, it may take them 6 weeks to 2 months to get their feet on the ground. But I think it's a strong class, and I think it's pretty likely that there will be some guys on the field when we open up on Friday. But it's yet to be determined. We have a good week of training to get ready for it.
What's the biggest adjustment for them? Is it physicality?
I think so. I think it's the speed of play and the physicality, and then there's the personal piece. We feel very strongly about the culture and how we welcome guys in and about the culture here at the school. It takes time to be used to being away on your own and, setting your own schedule and transitioning to those things. And I think on the whole, they're doing a good job. But yeah, on the field, it's the speed of play and it's the physicality.
How do you feel the experience playing in the NCAA tournament helps the team heading into this year?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate. We return, obviously, a lot of experience from playing in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. We felt that we performed well in our game last year. Well, credit to St. Olaf if they took the result. We feel like we have an understanding of what it takes to perform well in November. And I think that really helps us as we set our standards for what we need to do each day. To be ready, whether it's game one, and to hopefully have a chance to still be playing in November.
What excites you guys most about this season's schedule going into it at this point of preseason?
I'll let you guys go on that part.
We have a very good stretch of non-conference games with a lot of some teams that were in the tournament last year, other teams that just finished top of their conferences, so it'll be a good test for us, and it's towards the start of the season, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, just kind of building off that. We have a pretty tough non-conference schedule, so super excited to get after it, kind of test ourselves and go out there and perform. So.
Yeah, certainly, and some early season evening home games out at Salzwedel Field. We're pretty excited about that. The field's in great shape, and hopefully, and they're big games too with some of the teams coming in.
The college has done a lot of work at the complex. The Salzwedel Field being one of the premier changes that they've had. How has that helped you having a place that feels more inviting to fans and media?
Yeah, it feels like a proper environment that reflects how we approach what we do day to day. We might be at a small college, in Iowa, but we take things pretty seriously, and I think the school allows us to really embrace athletics at a level of excellence that we'd want academically or personally. It allows us to embrace it at the same level, and I think the field is an excellent representation of that.
What formations do you plan on running this year?
A little bit to be determined. I don't want to give Cornell any scouts here at the start, but I think that given what we returned from past years, I think people have a pretty good idea what to expect from us.
Picked as ARC favorites this year, how have you guys handled as a team and staff those expectations so far this preseason?
Yeah, I'll go quick and then I'll pass it off to the guys. It's an honor, right? But it's an honor that's relative to things that have been accomplished in the past. And I think the guys have done a good job of saying, hey, what affects what happens in the future is what we do day to day. You know, and we've talked about it, and these guys can go into it more. It's about the fruit. It's not, you know, later on in the year, but right now it's about the roots of the tree and growing those as deep as we can so that we get more fruit later on. But that's a reflection of the past. It's not the present.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely exciting. Like, that's where you want to be, but kind of like Coach said, the saying we have is like roots before the fruits. So, yeah, we haven't earned anything yet. So,
Yeah, I'd say that's where we expect it to be. You know, if you ask anybody on our team, that's how we feel about where we should be in terms of the conference. But it also puts a target on our back, so we have to just make sure that we prove that we deserve that ranking.
What are some things you've been impressed by from the team so far this preseason?
Yeah, I think last year we had pretty significant turnover after last fall in terms of like the leadership, the player leadership within our program. We've had they were younger guys, they're now seniors, some of the guys sitting next to me, as well as others that have stepped into leadership roles and are taking on the responsibility to lead the group and carry on things we felt really strongly about in the past, but doing it in a way that's unique to them and that's right for the current group. I think the guys have done a good job of helping to carry on, but continue to build forward and look at more.
You guys got a lot of cool team building opportunities this off season and preseason with the international trip to Spain and other things. Talk a little bit more about that, each of you.
Yeah, I'll let you guys talk about when we start with the trip.
Yeah, the international trip was awesome. It's definitely a once in a lifetime, you know, opportunity to be in a different country with a ton of your teammates. So it was awesome, and I think being able to play over there, kind of see the level of where they're at, is a pretty cool experience, and I think it helped us get off to a strong start in preseason.
I'd agree. I think everybody feels a little sharper having come back from there. We got to play 3 games over there, so it's a pretty good competition. It was beautiful. Also, the places we got to see were pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the cultural immersion and personal development that comes up from traveling internationally, I think is something that's priceless. To be able to help these guys open that door at this point in their life, I think is really cool. And credit to the tour companies we went with Travel and Play and Lost Sports. They did a great job helping us find a really good itinerary to see some really cool parts of Spain and then get up into the mountains in Andorra, which were unbelievable. But also in terms of, I think the opponents we saw were able to see pretty much the very threshold of the professional game, you know, whether it's from some of the top youth teams in the area we were in or the amateur teams right below professional. It was a really cool experience both culturally as well as soccer-wise.
What'd you gain as a coach from that? Because, I mean, Spain's probably still a good 40 years ahead of us as far as a nation. I mean, it's their Spain.
You can always learn, you know, and I think the coolest part when you go and you travel, you see things that are the same and it reinforces some things you really believe in, but you see it with different layers and with different levels of execution. And so I think it reinforces that, hey, we're doing some things really right. But there are definitely some new ideas that allow us to freshen things and perhaps do things at a little bit better of a level.
Do you have to do things so much different just because it seems like, at least even when I see it at the high school level, the international kids have so great ball skills because they just grew up with a soccer ball. I mean, do you have to do things differently in the U.S. because the ball skill is maybe not as, from the crib?
You know, I'll tell you what, the game has come a long way in the U.S. And we're fortunate with the players that we're able to find who are here on our roster, that there's a reasonable level of technique for us to be able to do what we'd like to do tactically. And so, yeah, the disparity might be greater at the high school level. We are fortunate with the guys who are here, and obviously both of these guys are domestic, and you know, one from Iowa, one from out in Colorado, and kind of from our traditional territory. We have some good players here. The level we saw there was different, and it was eye-opening for the guys. But I think it was we weren't at a level where we're out of our depth, and that's a credit to these guys in terms of their development as well as the environments they've come out of.
And I was looking at just some of your stats from last year. You know, you're leading, especially in the second half, shots per period, and also, I think is the word, fouls per period. You're still leading. And I mean, I think that aggressive mentality of the team I mean, I can't think of many good soccer programs that are not committing some fouls.
Every once in a while you got a foul. Sometimes, but it's also like I don't know. It is good to have the aggressive mentality. We bring it in training as well as the games. It helps everybody get better.
Yeah, I guess the mentality is good, but we're definitely not trying to
We're not trying
lead
to
in
yeah.
fouls.
I think the
Yeah.
purpose of what we're doing, I think there's an intensity and a balance of skill and physicality that I think we pride ourselves on bringing to the game. If that ends up in a foul count, that's certainly not the intent. I think the goals and how the game goes and who we are and how we represent our program and the school, those things are far greater and far more important to us.
I have a question for Sam. Not really a soccer question. There's a rumor going around town where you had a hole-in-one opportunity.
I did.
the other day.
Yeah.
Talk a little about that.
It was a short little par 3 out at Walters Ridge, and we were in 5-some, so I was with 4 of my buddies, and I think it was about 105. Grabbed my 52 degree, and just kind of put one close, and then just ended up taking a lucky bounce, I think, and rolled in there. So yeah, first one ever. Don't know if I'll ever have another opportunity like that again. So
is your future in golf now?
I mean, I don't know. Kind of starting to think about it now.
Hey, the good news is for Sam, he's got an offer for January, so he's got an offer of employment that probably takes him away from golf. But it's pretty cool. I was standing near the first tee box, and he was over on the floor, and I just heard the guys shouting and running down the fairway towards the green. So I saw glimpses of them through the trees. So it was pretty cool.
Good.
Thanks, guys.